At one point, I think we had 20 book calls in 1 week. After implementing this from the Instagram side of things, probably around 25 to 30 grand per month. I feel like AI gets a bad rap, but it's really not like that, because it's the exact questions I would be asking anyways. It's probably the only system out there that would beat me from a time perspective. It's like the only thing I swear that could beat me time-wise, right? Like, and it was awesome. You're the man, dude. Like, you respond within an hour. If there's any issue, you fixed it right away. And there's no better feeling than waking up in the morning and having 6 book calls on the calendar for the day. We have not had the level of success with anyone else. I don't see any reason why we can't get to 100K a month here in the next 6 to 12 months. That's why working with someone like yourself, enormous ROI on your business. AI is only going to continue to evolve, and you can either adapt or, it's just going to kind of take over. And I think AI as a whole kind of gets a bad reputation, and the reality is like it's only beneficial, right? Like, this is just efficiency, and this is allowing you to kind of have that virtual assistant in your pocket 24/7, but the best virtual assistant you've ever had.
What's going on, Mike? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Appreciate you joining us here today. We're going to be talking about the AI sales agent system that we implemented for Mike and his company. Quick background, Mike is the founder of MJB Elite Health, a fitness coaching platform that created the rebuilt method. So Mike, I'll give you the floor real quick. Go ahead and introduce yourself, talk to us about MJB Elite Health, and give us a quick background of the rebuilt method.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So my name's Mike Bear. Myself and my co-founder, we started MJB Elite Health a couple years ago, and that was due to kind of a transformation I went through where I was, working in the corporate world, working long hours, and just kind of really bad lifestyle habits, not only physically but mentally as well. And just wanted to look for a change, and noticed with 99% of fitness and nutrition programs you see out there, it's all kind of just nonsense and tells you go eat chicken and rice for the next 6 months and work out for an hour and a half and you'll get six-pack abs like everyone else. And the reality was, for a lot of guys who were working long hours, and especially higher up corporate executives, entrepreneurs, they don't have time to do that, right? And so through a method I created with my now business partner, we've been able both have combined to do 15 plus Ironmans, marathons, half marathons, and both of us were able to do that in with this simple method we created.
Heck yeah, man. That's super inspirational. So I'll just real quick outline the services that we provided for you guys to help you scale. Basically, we built an AI appointment setter. Essentially, Mike runs an ad through Meta. On the backside of that ad, we put that AI sales agent to essentially qualify and nurture the leads that are coming through. And then it'll book those leads directly to his calendar, so Mike really doesn't have to lift a finger. With that being said, Mike, where were you before working with us in terms of revenue and booked appointments per month?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So real quick, context-wise, we had tried to, we had brought a couple people on the team, tried to have them, help us out from the appointment setting perspective. But, with what we do, we only work with a handful of guys that, fit the criteria that we're looking for as well. And so a lot of that is I kind of come from a sales background as well. So I have, I understand the importance of urgency. I understand the importance of, asking the right questions. And unfortunately, with, the people we had kind of brought into our team, we weren't getting what we were looking for. And also, that's probably to my own fault, right? Because I'm very anal about, the specific process we use, timing, how quickly you're responding and all that good stuff. And we couldn't really find a system that fit that. But at the same time, we were kind of getting overwhelmed with in terms of, DMs we were getting and all that good stuff. And so obviously I'd known you from a couple years back, reached out to you after I saw a bunch of your content. And so, before implementing the AI system, I mean, we were consistently, in terms of monthly revenue, book calls anywhere from 15 to 25, call it. And in terms of monthly revenue, somewhere around, 15 to 20,000 per month. And then after implementing this, I mean, our book calls, we had at one point, I think we had 20 book calls in 1 week. It was awesome.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so our book calls significant. Yeah, it was great, man. Our book calls significantly increased, and our revenue went up as well. So after implementing this from the Instagram side of things, probably were around 25 to 30 grand per month.
Heck yeah. So you went up around like 10 to 15K in monthly recurring revenue after implementing the system?
Yeah, probably, and a lot of that's due to just getting the right people on the calls.
Yep, absolutely makes sense. Hey guys, real quick, if you want results like Mike, he went from 15K to 30K a month. Just book a call down below. It's the first link in the description. I also have a ton of other case studies there. One thing I just want to say is that Mike is a GOAT himself. He has a sales background and he's a killer in sales. And all this is to say is that I can't guarantee a 2x increase in revenue like we did with Mike, because that would be kind of insane. But I do get results, and I'm known for getting results. And if you hit that first link in the description, you can see all my other results as well. So if you'd like to book a call, we have a couple spots left to take on some new clients. Hit that first link in the description, and let's get back to the video. What was your process like for getting leads before working with us? I know you mentioned you sent a lot of like cold DMs before, you were doing some cold outreach. Were you handling everything manually, or were you using different tools or VAs, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I did everything. Yeah, variety of stuff, cold DMs, advertisements, but I was handling everything. It was pretty much all me. Like I said, tried to bring a couple people on the team, but just didn't really pan out and again, most of that's my fault because I just, I have a specific way I like stuff done, and when it's not done that way,
Yeah.
I get frustrated. So, that's why, again, I really do love your system because it's everything that I would be asking, right? It's everything that I would be implementing me personally. Um, and it just helps us from an efficiency perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's not anything that's like, I feel like AI gets a bad rap, but it's really not like that because it's the exact questions I would be asking anyways, right? And a variety of stuff like that. So and efficiency was great. It's probably the only system out there that would beat me from a time perspective, right? In terms of how quickly we're responding, because that's something I value a lot is, if these guys are taking the time to reach out to me, I want to respect their time and make sure I'm responding as quickly as possible. But it's funny, right? Like it almost goes against what I preach from a health and physical and mental perspective of like, the phone's not the best thing for you. And when I'm sitting there checking it for 12 hours a day kind of goes against what I believe in as well. And so, yeah, I mean, long story short, right, it had a profound effect on just in terms of efficiency, right?
Yeah.
And not only the number of book calls, but just, also who we were speaking to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. So it sounds like, so you've tried a variety of different things, like you've tried running ads, you've tried sending cold DMs. For any other fitness coach or anyone who's watching this video, is there one platform that you would recommend the most in terms of ROI for your time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it all comes down to, what your offer is, who you're trying to target, and B, like, how is your system even good, right? Like
Yeah.
that's something that we firmly believe in my partner's eyes. We believe we have the best health transformation system out there.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that not a lot of guys can say they've done the stuff that we've done from a physical perspective. A lot of guys
Yeah.
just look good with their shirts off. That's not us.
Yeah.
Like we're not here to just preach that. We've done a lot of hard stuff, and not only that, we've helped a lot of our clients do a lot of hard stuff too, and transform their health using our simple system that we put into place for them, right? And so, like, first things first, you gotta have the right offer. You gotta have you gotta have a good system in place for actually helping guys achieve their goals. But in terms of like platforms, I mean, you know, I not necessarily one great platform. I think it's just important to have a system in place. We're on X, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, and all of them are very valuable. But as long as you have some sort of system in place, I think that's where you're going to ultimately see the best results.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's a big point right there that number one, you have to have the offer dialed in, because you can have great ads, pulling traffic into an offer, but if it's a shitty offer, like you're not going to close any deals. So that's a really good point you made right there.
Yeah.
Since you started working with us, did you have any surprises? What stood out about implementing the AI sales agent?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it enough. It's efficiency, right? Like I used the
Yeah.
example earlier. One of the things I personally took pride in is like how quickly I was responding to these guys, making sure we're getting them set up, making sure we're booking a call with these guys. And like it took all that off my plate because again, like when we brought people on in the past, no one had the level of efficiency that I thought was acceptable in
Yeah.
terms of, running a business. And so like by implementing this, I made this joke earlier. It was like the only thing I swear that could beat me time wise, right? Like, and it was awesome because it takes a lot of time off my hands. But at the same time, again, like I said this earlier, like it it's asking the same questions that I would be asking, right? Like you and I worked together to make sure we had everything set up in the way that I wanted it set up. Um, and I think one of the coolest things is like, especially for guys out there who are thinking about working with you, is like you're the man, dude. Like you respond within an hour. If there's any issue, you fixed it right away. Um, Not that we ran into a ton of issues, we really didn't. But my point being is like anytime something would go wrong, like Nick was on it, right? Like within 30 minutes, he had it fixed and he had it done. And that goes to say a lot about you and your system is, and like how valuable it is. But I think the biggest thing was just efficiency, right? Like it takes a stress level out of the way for you. And not only that, I mean, there's no better feeling than waking up in the morning and having 6 book calls on the calendar for the day,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Nah, yeah, 100%. Man.
I think too, there's a lot of value to having a response very quickly to a lead inquiry. There's a lot to be said with sales velocity. So if we're responding to inquiries, or in this case, DMs from an ad, pretty much instantly with our AI setter, they're going to be more responsive on their end and a lot more likely to book a call. If you hire out a VA, one, I mean, you might not get the exact responses that you might like to have, or it might not be as soon as possible. And if you do it yourself, again, you run into that issue of you can't respond to someone at 2 a.m. where the AI setter can respond to someone at 2 a.m. and you wake up and you get those book calls.
100%, man.
You mentioned, so we're able to get around like 15 to 20 booked calls a week. What have you seen in your business that has been the most beneficial by those booked calls?
The ability to say no, right? Like, that's one thing, especially businesses. Like, we're still so early. Like, our goals for this business are minuscule compared to like what we want to do. Um, and for any business, any small business out the gate, right? Like the biggest issue is always lead generation. And so, a lot of times early on, you're trying to close anyone you can, anyone with a pulse, because it's like that's the livelihood of your business. And so when you have that amount of book calls, it's the ability to like be like, no, like, you know, our system, like I said, I think is the best health transformation system out there. Because of the simple system that we put into place for these guys. But my point with all this is, like when you have 15 to 20 book calls a week, you have the ability to make sure that the guys are right for your program. Because the reality is especially from what we do, a lot of it's commitment, and a lot of it has to be like they have to be there, and if they're not there, it's not going to be beneficial for them.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. And so like when you have that many leads coming in, you have the ability to be like, okay, this is going to work for you. Like, or you have the ability to be like, listen,
Yeah.
I respect you hopping on the call. This isn't for
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have more choices. So, yeah, with that being said, like, have you seen any other agencies that could deliver the same amount of quality, the same turnaround time, and the same efficiency as we've done for you?
Nah, man. Nah. We have not had the level of success with anyone else. And I've tried a couple. So
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate that. That's sick to hear.
absolutely, brother.
Cool. So then kind of building off that, based on the results you've seen so far, where do you see yourself and MJB Elite Health in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I mean, our goal is to help 1 million guys, right? Like that's the
Yep.
big goal is we want to help over 1 million guys, you know, take a walk down the street and you'll see how many people need help when it comes to their health and fitness goals,
Oh,
right? And so that's
100%,
that's our
especially in
big goal.
America.
Yeah, 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 exactly. You and I are fortunate. We live in a part of the country that It's actually a lot of fit people, which is good.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, like we want to help, over 1,000 people, or excuse me, 1 million people. Like that's the big goal of what we're trying to do here. From a revenue perspective, um, I don't see any reason why we can't get to 100K a month here in the next 6 to 12 months, especially because, I touched on this earlier, but if the system is as good as people say it is, you're going to continue to grow, right? And that's one thing I can sit here and say is I truly believe we don't, we have the best system out there on the market.
Yeah. So going off that, how important would you say that implementing AI in your business is moving forward with the economy and how AI is moving?
I mean, huge, right? It's one of those things, if you don't adapt, you're just going to get crushed by it, right?
Yep.
It's with anything in business. I come from a real estate background. It's like, the firm I used to work for, everything's becoming AI, right? Like it's
Hmm.
not just the health space, it's not just the tech space, it's not just the real estate space. It's here, and if you know how to utilize it properly, it's only going to benefit you. But again, that's not my. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to it, right? And so that's
Yeah.
why working with someone like yourself, it allows you to, um, implement even something like this and just have such an enormous ROI on your business, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I would have when we first started working together, you're like, yeah, you a couple options, right? You can set it up. I'm like, why would I set it up myself? I'm gonna screw something up. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, absolutely not, right? Right? And
Exactly.
so yeah, man. Like, it's one of those things. Like, you got to adapt, or you're gonna get crushed by it. So, yeah, I think moving forward, we're only gonna continue to implement it more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy to think about today is really the oldest AI that we're looking at. Like it's just going to continue to improve and get better and better. One of the main limiting beliefs with a lot of business owners now is you can't really train AI to sound like you. But in this case, we were able to break down your sales process and how you set people in the DMs and get it to sound exactly like you. So I mean, do you have any feedback? Like, did it sound robotic on your end?
No, I mean it was all the messaging I use, right? Like that's why I had that conversation before I invested in your system was like, I like my biggest thing is like I don't want this to sound robotic. Like I'm not using something like that. Like here's exactly what it's gonna say. Like I don't even think I took like I was like I don't want advice. Like this is what we're saying. This is
Yep.
this is my script. This is what I say. This is what I need to hear. This is what I need to send. And you did exactly that, right? Like there was nothing robotic about it. And I mean, it said exactly what I needed it to say in order for not only the individual reaching out, but for us to get the most out of the conversation.
So you had the sales process already dialed. You came to us. We implemented it within the setter and then pretty much sounded exactly like you, just to reiterate. If anyone is on the fence on working with us and my team at Simplest Scale, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I kind of made a comment about this earlier. AI is only going to continue to evolve, and you can either adapt or, it's just going to kind of take over. And, I think AI as a whole kind of gets a bad reputation. And the reality is like it's only beneficial, right? Like this is just efficiency, and this is allowing you to kind of have that virtual assistant in your pocket 24/7, but the best virtual assistant you've ever had, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's only going to continue to evolve. Um, so if anyone's on the fence, you're not going to get a harder working guy than Nick. That's the other thing, right? I said this earlier. Anytime something came up, I would shoot him a text and he was responding to me in 30 minutes, right? Like, and he had it fixed. And so that's really important. And that's something we pride ourselves on in my business as well is like efficiency and, not only efficiency from the AI perspective, but efficiency from you personally. And you're not going to find a better team out there than you guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much for all the kind words and for your time today. Last question for anyone who's watching this, where can they find you on social media?
On Instagram, it's just my name, Mike Bear. Twitter, just X, just my name. LinkedIn, just my name, Mike Bear. Um, And so, yeah, we're on all three platforms. We're really active on all three at this point. And so you can find us there. You can find us at mjdelitehealth.com as well. We have a whole website, a couple videos for you guys to watch, to go through and see exactly how the system works as well.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute killer time to have you on here.
Absolutely, brother. You're the man. If you guys are on the fence, go work with my guy. You won't regret it.
All right, so if you guys are interested in getting results just like Mike, he went from manually sending cold DMs every single day to booking 80 calls a month completely on autopilot. If you want results like that, you can book a call below. My website will be there. If you want, you can watch the video first to get an idea of what we do before the call, and then just hit that big bright orange book a call button. Otherwise, that's it for me. Peace.